Hey guys, today we will be learning a new topic in CSS. This is mostly used, when we are not using a CSS framework, which is called CSS Grid. After that, we will be learning CSS Flexbox. So actually, it is a two-dimensional, way of arranging our items into a page. So that is the only thing about CSS Grid, how we place our items into our web page, like one after another or side by side, 1 2 3. If you want to place three things side by side, how we have to do it. So I will, code is also there. I have also written some basic code. So let's go with the basic how to do it. So like suppose this is a simple HTML page. Here I have styled three things. One is container, one is item 1, and second one is item 2. So basically, so I'm sorry. So here what I have done, in the container I have, since I want to use since I want to use grid, I have to mention the display as grid. In case of Flexbox, we have to mention display as flex. We will learn it in the next lesson. So here we are describing how many columns and rows we want. So we want columns 200 pixel, 200 pixel, 200 pixel, three columns of 200 pixels, which we got 1, 2 and 3. Each one is 200 pixels. Let's see. So this is the thing. So see, this is 204. So some will be the border width of 2 and 2 pixels. So the border width I have added here. So for 2 pixels. So that is why it is 204. Otherwise it will be 200. Just like that. So and there is a row of 100 and 100 pixels. So there are two rows. Row 200 into 100. So it is like that, and here also there is a row of 200 into 100. So it's like that. So it's like that, and then grid template is 100 into 100. So there are two rows, three columns. Each has a border of 2 pixels. Container has a border of 2 into 2. Here also the border I have given 2 pixels. So that is the thing. So this particular border which I showed, this is for the outer one. The inner border is which I placed in the item. So grid column is 1 to 2, which means it spans from 1 to 2 and cover one column. So that is the only thing. And grid row is also like that, 1 to 2, which is the top grid, and it has only 2 grid. So it is placed here. Similarly, for item 2 I have placed 3 to 4, and which is and second to third. So this is like that. So it is placed here. And for the item 3 I have placed second to third. Let me delete it. And the grid column is again same, 1 to 2, which is like that. So this is like this. So that's how it is placed, 1 to 1 3 2. So based on what I have given to item 2, I have given 3 4. So it is placed last, and 2 3. So it is from second to third. So it is like that. And I have just created simple HTML to illustrate it very simply how it works. Now let's go step by step and learn how it works. So for that I have created a big page. So CSS Grid is two-dimensional layout system that allows you to create a complex layout. Layout means how you place items into this thing with rows and columns. I showed how we can two properties for rows and column. I showed one is grid template columns and grid template rows, and here in the items we have to write grid column and grid row where we want to place our item. There are other ways also. This is the most generic way. So Key concept: grid works with parent container, grid container, and its direct children. So that is the thing. So, but inside it we can use Flexbox also. Like inside it we will learn how it is, because this is for the above thing, and Flexbox we use inside a grid container to place, because it is one dimension. So it's like this. So basic step of setup is like, in the container we have to mention the grid. So container means parent element, and so the first way is to display grid. And here display grid template column, we can give one fr means one fraction, second fraction, third fraction, and gap we can mention 10, which is like this. So it will create a gap and it will create this something like this. Here we haven't mentioned rows. So what is fr? Fr represents a fraction of available space in grid container. So whatever the fraction of available space is there, it will be in a container. So it will be like, div for the whole this particular thing. It will be like this. So if it is into something, it's like that. So grid. So here it has mixed. It is giving a 1 fr, 2 fr, and this is for this. So it is for responsive layout 1 fr and 2 fr, and this is for fixed layout. So guys, please keep that in mind, that fr is a means fraction, and it is for a responsive layout. I mean fraction unit, not fraction, not just fraction. So this is how it is. Pixel is 100. This is this, and this is this. So this is how it is, guys. And let's do it for other thing. Defining rows and column. So suppose we just don't want to describe the columns, we also want to describe the rows. So in that particular case, what we can do column like 1 fr, 1 fr, 1 fr, and rows like 100, 150 and 100, and gap like 10 pixels. And here we can mention this 1, 2, 3, and this is for the rows. And rather than writing it 1 fr, 1 fr, we can repeat it with this. And after repeating, we can also mention this. So this repeat means repeating a column. So we can autofill with minmax as well. I hope you have gotten a basic idea of how to do it. So we can also do it with an autofill. Autofill is like this keyword, create a responsive grid that automatically adjusts with the number of column. Grid template areas. So in the grid template area, what we can do a display grid, and in the display grid, what we can do, in the display template column, we can mention 1 fr, 1 fr, 1 fr for this thing. And then in the grid template areas, we can mention header, and in the sidebar main. So which means that when whichever grid area mentioned as header, whichever grid area is mentioned as sidebar, whichever grid area is mentioned as main, we will place it here, and in the footer we will place footer. So it's like that. So placing the grid items, we can place it like that as well, like we did. Grid column span 2, grid row span 2, we can place it like that. So this is like justify content, align items. So align grid horizontally, align items vertically, align items horizontally. So these all things we can justify self, align self, place self. We can do it in the Flexbox. Then we will be able to understand how it works. But here also we can see how it works. The complex layout, grid. So display container grid. So grid template column, repeat 4 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1, and then 2, 3, 4. And then I have showed you right how we have done it. In grid template rows, repeat 3 of 100, gap 10x. In first item it is 1 to 3 and grid row 1 to 3, and item 2 it is 3 to 5, item 5 it is 3 to 5. So rather than FR I was using actually pixels. Apart from that, in my first example I have showed how to do it for the each item. So that is for the most complex things. So this is 100% of the time, and 90% of the time we will be using in this way only for laying out our container. It is also kind of same thing only. This is a nested grid, grid inside a grid. So one grid, so this parent grid is there, and then there is a nested grid, again there is a grid, so we can do it like that as well. So 1 FR and 2 FR, and here 1 FR, 1 FR we have done. So it's like that. So guys, it is very simple. If you follow this, and so common grid pattern is also like that. So soon I will be creating a series on this thing. Guys, you can please go on Udemy and search for my HTML course. Please do it. It is a great course. Hopefully it will help you understand all these things, all these concepts, and you will find all these things attached with this video. Please like, share, subscribe my video. Thanks a lot.